Hi everyone, I'm Hayley. I'm always in the craft room and welcome to another Friday Sews. We're in a slightly different location in the craft room today on the crafting sofa, and I thought we could just sit down, have a little coffee and a catch up. So those of you who have been watching my channel know I've been busy this summer sewing a handmade holiday wardrobe. It's all done, but I do have a few extra details to fill you in on, namely the fabric from my jumpsuit, which I thought I ruined. So if you've been following along, you will have seen this saga where I put this denim peak from Rainbow Fabrics through a pre-wash and put it on too high a spin, and it came out with wrinkles in that I thought were permanent. Avril, one of my commenters, told me to overlock around each cut pattern piece, wash them, and then iron them from damp to dry. Ding, ding, ding. All the gold stars to Avril. You fixed it. Thank you so much. So here is the finished jumpsuit. There are still a couple of creases if you really know where to look. I'm going to put in some photos of the before and after because it's night and day. Like, I would not have been able to progress this project if I hadn't got those creases out. But I am so pleased with the finished result. I absolutely love it. So thrilled. Thank you so much to everyone who left comments. I did try a few things. So the first one was as Avril suggested, and I'm so pleased she told me to overlock around every piece before I put them in the washing machine, because if I had not done that step, it could have been a disaster. This fabric is actually, though it's thick, it's fairly loosely woven and it frays quite badly. So I'm glad I did that. I was then watching Adam from Adam Sews, who mentioned he had recently bought at a show a crease release spray, and I thought, oh, I need to look that up. And then I remembered, oh, I already have one. Hang on. Oh, I look like an ad, don't I? Here is some Lenore crease release spray. This is not an ad though, because I hate this stuff and it didn't work. So once I'd washed it, ironed it from damp, I had got like 99% of the creases out. If you look at this top back piece, can you see there is still just the faintest of faint crease lines? I actually can't even see it now. Where is it? Maybe it did work. Oh no, there it is. Can you see a diagonal crease line along there? Anyway, once I'd ironed it and got it really fine, I thought, why not just spray this crease release spray on and see if it does it any good? So I'd used this before. I bought it because I made a polyester blouse which was so static. It literally went and stuck to me at all times, which was uncomfortable to wear because it was polyester, and also it just looked weird. Like it was meant to be a kind of blousey, flowy top, and instead it was just like. So I bought this crease release spray to try and solve that problem. It did solve that problem. However, it's described as spring awakening fragrance. Oh my gosh, it is so heavily perfumed, I could not wear the top. It got rid of the static problem, but this stuff stinks. So I'd kind of shoved it on the back of a shelf in the laundry room and forgotten all about it, never used it again. Tried it on this, and I read the instructions, and I remember this from last time. It clearly says on the instructions, I'm going to read it to you. Safe on virtually all fabric types. On fabrics which may water spot, silk, nylon, test on a hidden area first. Use only as intended. If sprayed on hard surfaces and floorings, immediately clean surface with all-purpose cleaner. they mean it, okay? So it also says, place a towel under garment, spray fabric with a sweeping motion until slightly damp. Spray fabric from a distance of approximately 15 centimetres. Use towel behind to protect surfaces, floors and carpets. It mentions the floors and protecting things quite a few times, eh? Well, the first time I sprayed this on said blouse, I laid a towel on the floor, as it says, and I did it in the bathroom, and our bathroom floors are rubber flooring. So I laid a towel down, spritzed it, didn't think much more of it, moved the towel. The next day, I nearly broke my neck because the whole floor has droplets of this on it, and it's like micro pearls or beads or something, just make the floor so slippery. I'm honestly not exaggerating. It was intense. I don't know what is in this, but it's whack. Do not get it on your floors. At all costs, do not get it on your floors. So when I was treating the jumpsuit, I hung it up on the washing line and sprayed it outdoors. And I spritzed it from a distance of 15 centimetres until the garment was damp and then left it to air dry. Let me tell you, it made no difference to the creases. What it did do was make this entire garment smell so heavily of a spring awakening that I actually had to rewash those pieces. The smell was so strong. So, look, some people love a linen fresh smell. Clearly, I'm not one of them. My mum would probably love it. She loves a really strong fragrance. But yeah, I'm sorry, Lenore. It didn't release the creases and it made everything stink. And if you are going to use it, do it outside. This is my second version of the Dominique. You may have seen this one that I made a while back. I'm glad I made the first version in a print and made all my alterations before I made a plain version, because in this one I altered the length on the fly and the front and back seams do not meet up, but on this one I'm proud to say they do. I removed 3 centimetres length from the bodice. I am short in the torso, but I normally remove 4 centimetres, and I think 3 is perfect. I'm going to be bending down, lifting luggage, chasing kids. I wouldn't want it to be any shorter top to bottom, I don't think. Size-wise, I measured a 40 at the bust, a 40 at the waist, and a 42 at the, a 40 at the bust, a 40 at the hip, and a 42 at the waist. But there's pockets in this. I don't know if you can see. Obviously, I won't use them. We all know I don't like to put anything in my pocket. But altering between sizes on a trouser pattern with pockets and the waist seemed quite complicated. So what I did instead was fully constructed everything without any pleats at the front. And I sewed this little bit with a normal 2.5 stitch length and this bit of the waist seam with a 2.5 stitch length. In between those 2 points, I used a 5 basting stitch, so an extra long stitch. Once it was all completed, I tried the garment on and just messed about with the pleats to get them how I thought looked nice. The pleats should take up 6 centimetres of ease. I made them so they only took up 4.5 centimetres on each side, so I gained 1.5 centimetres each side, which is 3 centimetres around, which made it roomy enough that a size 40 was fine. There should, according to the line drawing, which I have here, there should be 2 pleats on the trousers and only 1 on the top. And because this fabric is quite thick and the pleats were getting smaller and smaller, I felt 2 tiny pleats might just look like an accident. It might just look like I'd got a tuck in my fabric. So I decided to just go for 1. But yeah, I just played around with it and did it at the end. The other change I've made is to do with the hem, and I need your advice because I have a YouTube channel now. I don't need to Google things, I can just ask you lot. I prefer the look of this cuffed. So the pattern specifies a 2cm double turned hem. I tried it in, I tried it out, and I prefer it out. But how do I secure this down? At the moment, it's literally overlocked along the bottom edge and then just turned. Do I try and do a blind hem like on the outside to catch the cuff? Do I need to hand stitch it? Is there a secret way to do it I don't know about? Any advice on sewing a cuff? Much appreciated, because I've never done one before. The arms, you're instructed to overlock, turn and stitch at 1 centimetre. This fabric is quite loosely woven and I was worried about fraying even with the overlocking. So I actually cover stitched that down just in navy. I thought about doing a bias binding, but I didn't want it to stand too proud and give me Star Trek shoulders, if you know what I mean. So that was how I dealt with that. And for the closures at the front, these buttons are fake. No, they're not fake, are they? They're real buttons, but they're not operational, because who has got time to be undoing and redoing all these buttons every time you go to the loo? So I've kept this one out to show you how I did that without undoing my clothes. And these buttons are hand sewn on top of snaps. Machine sewn on snaps. So I just sew those on using the function on my machine that allows you to sew buttons. So I machine sew the snaps on and then hand sew a button on top. And I don't think you would ever know the difference. It looks like buttons, doesn't it? But so much quicker for bathroom breaks. These two buttons are sewn just all the way through. The pockets are not real, they're literally just flaps. The buttons are from Abercorn in Manchester, and I match those from memory. I normally take a fabric scrap with me, but I hadn't on that day, and I spotted these and just thought, I think they're the right colour, and they are. I love them. So that's my thoughts on the jumpsuit. I'm so pleased I managed to save it. Thank you so much to all the commenters who left wonderful suggestions. I didn't need to work all the way down the list because, yeah, Avril sorted it. Thank you very much. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about that was part of my holiday wardrobe was my second pair of linen trousers. They are these, and it was specifically the pockets that I wanted to mention. The first pair, which I made in navy, I did consider putting pockets on as I was cutting them out. But as you'll know, if you've seen the video where I made those, it was a massive bodge job. I was making up the pattern as I went along. It was too much to compute. So I thought they would look nice with pockets on the back, but I just didn't have the bandwidth to do it. But when I came to this second pair, I had a huge advantage, which was I had the blue pair already made up. So I was watching Dianne from Beyond the Sewing Room. If you don't watch her channel, you should. She's such a professional. She was talking about a jacket she made where she felt the front was plain and she wanted to add pockets. So she took a piece of paper, folded it to look like a pocket, and pinned it to the jacket to see what she thought. What a clever idea. So I copied Dianne and I found a pocket piece from the Itch to Stitch Liana jeans. Took that pocket piece, folded away the seam allowances, and then I could pin it onto my blue pair to see what I thought of sizing and placement. And let me tell you, that was invaluable, because the first thing I did when I pinned it on initially, I put it equidistant between the side seam and the centre back seam. And let me tell you, that looked ridiculously wrong. But that's where I would have put it if I had tried to apply it at that early stage in garment construction. So it was so good that I had a finished pair to try them on. I actually made the pocket quite a lot smaller than the Liana pocket is intended to be, moved the placement loads, got it just where I wanted it. It was just fantastic having a finished pair to try it on. I then measured where I had it on the finished garment and worked out on the flat back piece before construction where to do it, taking into account seam allowances. So pretty much the first thing I did with these trousers was sew the pockets on. I'm going to hide my head so the camera focuses so I can show off my amazing top stitching. Here's my smug face. Here's my top stitching. I know, right? So good. So pleased with that. So I really do think it adds something to these trousers because they are an invisible side seam zip. They are like the plainest pair of trousers ever. There's no details at all, which I like on the front, but I just thought on the back that would add a nice detail, and I'm so pleased with it. The other thing I did differently on this pair is the hem, and I actually sewed a blind hem on these, which we all have our favourite and our least favourite sewing tasks, don't we? And usually hemming is my least favourite task because it just seems like the garment's all finished and you could ruin it by doing the hem wrong and then have to redo it, and I hate altering things. Anyway, with these, I double folded a hem, and as I was pressing it, I went to like put it back to the outside so I could top stitch it, and I just thought, oh, I could do a blind hem on this. And wouldn't that look nice given that there's no visible top stitching anywhere on the front of these trousers? So I thought that would just look like a really nice, classy finish. And to me, there is just something so satisfying about a blind hem. I don't know why, given that I don't normally like hemming, I absolutely love doing a blind hem. It's just so satisfying watching the machine do that, take a little bite, take a little bite. And my sewing machine has a speed control on it, so I can turn it right down and just get it absolutely bob on. I love it. I love doing it. And I don't know why. I was shown how to do a blind hem in the one sewing class I've ever taken, and I just got it straight away. She literally showed you how to flip it, and how to sew it so it goes along there and just takes a bite of the double fold of fabric. She showed me one time and it just clicked. Every time I have to put a zip in a garment, every single time, I have to like read the instructions, think it through, check my Vogue sewing manual, pin it, paste it, flip it, and still like 1 in 3 times the zip tape ends up on the outside. I don't know why. But somehow just blind hems, it just clicked, and I just always get them right, and I always love doing them. So there is my blind hem on my trousers. This zip actually did go in first time, which is a rarity for me. And also, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you are going to be impressed with this fact. But this waistband, I got the zip on the left-hand side first time. And I know a lot of you will think, why is that a big thing? But I'm not good with left and right. And when you're making a waistband that's faced, it gets so complicated because this is the right side of the fabric, but it's going against your skin. So it's all reversed in my mind and which side you sew. And anyway, I went really slow with this. All of the side seams and the waistband matches up. Again, if you've seen the video where I make the pattern for these, you will understand that is a big deal. I had some trouble with the waistband. So yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled with these trousers. I will link that video below if you need a giggle because, yeah, it's fairly clear I did not know what I was doing when it came to trouser making. What else have I been up to this week? Well, enter my new 28mm rotary cutter. I've been after one of these for about 4 years. I've only ever been able to find one 28mm rotary cutter by Olfa. I'm sure it's a quality brand. I would have loved to have bought it, but it's bright yellow. And I know this is ridiculous and shallow and stupid, but I just didn't want an ugly bright yellow rotary cutter hanging out in my gorgeous craft room. Isn't that silly? Anyway, I saw a black one and I was like, that's fine. That will recede. It won't draw attention to itself. So I bought it. It is from this shop called Sustren Green. Oh, I'm going to have to do that thing where I cover my face because it's not going to focus, is it? It is Danish, Swedish, Finnish, Norwegian, Scandinavian company. And it's kind of like IKEA. So it's called Sustren Green, which means green sisters. And I don't know if they really are two sisters who set it up or if it's just a marketing ploy, but their pictures on the logo. Anyway, it's kind of like a tiny IKEA crossed with a Muji, if you know the Japanese brand Muji. And they sell all sorts, a little bit of everything. It's all so cute. It's all so stylishly merchandised. I absolutely love that shop. And they have loads of crafty bits. They do yarn, ribbon, paper craft, punches, washi tape, paints, all kinds of paints, great crayons for the kids, which I love because they're triangular shape, so they can't roll off the table. Small thing, makes a big difference. And yeah, I picked up this rotary cutter. As you can see, I haven't used it yet. What I wanted it for was cutting arm size and things where it's quite a tight curve. I normally just use, I think it's 4.5 centimetre standard rotary cutter, but I wanted a little one for those small pieces, and I'm so pleased to have found that. I think that's all I had to show you for this week's Friday sews. As I said, I've been so busy with the holiday wardrobe, I haven't had time to do much else, but I hope you enjoyed that little catch up anyway, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye. This top is driving me mad. Oh, and there's the pattern piece I had to show you from the trousers, but I never did.